What's going on, guys? My name is Nick Abraham. I am the founder of leadbird.io. We're a B2B lead gen agency with over 1,000 active clients. In this video, I want to cover how to generate leads for a recruiting firm. So if you're a recruiting firm, if you can watch this video and follow this playbook, it will predictably show you how to book appointments and get leads for your firm. We've worked with tons of recruiters. And so I want to kind of talk about the offers I've seen work, the angles that I've seen work, how I'd go about building the lead list and launching the campaign and everything of that sort. And if you're a recruiter and you want to outsource this entirely, feel free to book a call with us at leadbird.io and we will be more than happy to help you out. So let's get right into it. So the first thing to keep in mind is the recruitment industry is very crowded. There is thousands and thousands and thousands of recruiters. And unfortunately, if you're watching this and you're a recruiter, I hate to say it, but you're not special. And there's nothing that you do that really makes you stand out against all the other recruiters. Like your product and your service is pretty much all the same. There's like 3 models and 3 types of recruiters that I've seen. And to be frank, it's all really, really similar, which doesn't mean that you suck. It doesn't mean that you're bad or anything by that means. It just means that you have to do certain things to stand out because you run nearly identical offers. So what most of you think allows you to stand out just doesn't work. And so I do want to talk about how to get creative with the actual messaging. And I'm not looking to offend any recruiter in this video. I'm just talking about the harsh realities that we've seen work when running recruitment campaigns. So these are like the 3 types of recruiters that we predominantly see. You have the offshore recruiter, which is going to help you staff offshore people. And their biggest value prop is price, that they're able to get you talent cheaper than actually hiring an American in-house. And so you don't want to overthink the pitch. You want to lean hard into the hourly rate. So if you're staffing engineers, if you're staffing SDRs, if you're staffing design talent, whatever it may be, like literally put the price per hour that it would be for the applicant, regardless of how you actually charge, right? Obviously, we know that you probably don't charge per hour for the actual person and that you're just looking at a place that's their company. Regardless of how you charge, you need to speak about the hourly wage that is within the salary of the person that you would be placing. So like, for most offshore roles, I've seen $6 per hour. If it's $8 per hour, fine. If it's $10 per hour, it's fine. If it's less than $6 per hour, that is fine. But the key point is in the copy, you should be able to say, hey, we have SDR starting at $6 per hour. Do you want to look at a few profiles? That is your biggest edge and you don't want to hide from it because it's such a no-brainer. When someone sees, hey, SDR is at $6 per hour, they're like, should I go to Chick-fil-A and get me my spicy deluxe sandwich or should I go hire an SDR for $6 per hour that can help me book more appointments on my calendar? Well, I think the choice is obvious for most smart business owners. And so really, really lean into that. Don't talk about, we can help you find the best applicants or we can help you find real high quality talent out of India or whatever it may be. Like, just say the hourly wage. That's it. So I think a lot of offshore recruiters we see, they try to hide away from that. They also try to pitch every type of position. Hey, we can help you hire marketing professionals, sales professionals, developers, whatever. And it's like, don't do that. Like you need to pick a certain role and then talk about the value props and target the person that would actually be hiring that person or hiring to manage that role, right? So if you're doing SDRs, build a list of SDR managers or, sales leaders and you want to cater the copy towards them. So it's like, hey, first name, not sure if you have a list of old dead leads that you need to re-engage. I'd be happy to introduce you to some SDRs from Latin America with no accent starting at $6 per hour. Would you want to review a few profiles? Like that's a banger offer and a banger cold email. Like you're going to get results with that. And it could go with virtually any position. And so that's the key thing to kind of keep in mind if you're an offshore recruiter. Then you got kind of like the domestic recruiter, which is like, placing Americans because, and at larger enterprises, like they're probably not going to outsource a lot of things to Latin America or India or anything of that sort. And some do, but some might not. And sometimes, the position is like something that's like someone that needs to come in place and it can't be done remote. But whenever you're like, what I would say is like a domestic recruiter, the best thing to do is pitch the actual candidate. And for whatever reason, like, I don't know what it is. Like we tell a lot of recruiter clients this and they push back on this because they're like, no, I need to have a contract with the client before I actually pitch a candidate of ours or anything of that sort. And it's just like, oh man, like we're going to lose this campaign if we don't do this. Like some of the best campaigns I've gotten and cold emails that I've gotten personally, it's literally pitching the candidate. So they're like, hey, I think that when you pitch and you say like, hey, we're a premium recruitment agency and we can find you the best candidate, that like nobody believes that. And like, unfortunately, the quality is very inconsistent. Like I use, 10 to 15 different recruiters of all types, sizes, areas. And, some recruiters, they'll give me absolute banger candidates and we've hired from them. And then the next person that we speak to is an absolute dud. And like, that's just how it is. Like people are unpredictable. Like I don't blame the recruiter by any means. I never asked for a refund or anything. I just know that's part of the game. Because even when I source candidates myself, you may get someone that passes all the assessments, passes all the things before, passes all the reference checks, and then you speak to them and they're a dud. And that's just how it is. And so don't lead with these generic stuff and talk about your company and talk about, the type of work you've done. Like pitch the candidate. Just like going niche with your campaigns because it produces better outcomes. And just another kind of thing to keep in mind is like there's some positions that are extremely hard to compete in. I think with most recruiters, they will naturally want to place engineers and IT professionals. And I think it's because they get a better spread because, if they're taking, 20% of the first year salary of the candidate that they place, typically software engineers at bigger enterprises, they're making anywhere from 200 to 300K per year. So they make more. And I get that. I totally get that. But with outbound, it is an extremely crowded market. And typically you're, emailing into IT professionals and they hate emails. And so it's really hard to get results there. And so, I would try to go source and look into these other like roles that you probably, I can help you find someone that has great experience, interested. Like that stuff does great. And here's the thing. Yes. Do you make less per placement? Absolutely. Right? But you have way higher velocity when it comes to sales, and you just naturally will be able to actually use outbound as an engine. And a lot of the recruiters that we talk to, like they're solo or not solo, or they're under 10, employees of their company are probably making under $2 million a year. I would say most of them are making under $1 million a year. And, they want to get these massive enterprises and they should. But I'm a firm believer that if you're not there yet and you just need to get more consistent pipeline going, you should be taking a lot of this advice and really using it. So yeah, that's basically everything. And I'll kind of talk about some of the other stuff that we've seen work pretty quickly as well. So like I mentioned, one of the number one things that we've seen is pitching the candidate. This is an example. People aren't wanting to work deals. They're wanting like layups. And unfortunately, cold email and outbound is not layups. Like you got to work these deals. And so it's all about how can I get as many positive replies and people that show interest and then take them further down my funnel. And that will increase the outcomes that you want, which is more closed deals. So yeah, I think that's one thing that I've seen. If you don't want to pitch the candidate in itself, I think a good thing to do is talking about the pool of candidates and talking about where they came from. So it's like, if you're, and I mentioned not to hit up developers, but let's just say we are, you could run a campaign where it's like, I source a huge pool of candidates, or a huge pool of software engineer candidates, let's say like Microsoft, Google, and Meta, and they're looking for their next role. I noticed that you guys are hiring engineers. Do you want to maybe be introduced or look at a few resumes? Like that's a banger campaign. Run that. We also had a client one time, what they wanted to do was place a recruiter into the client's business, and then the recruiter would be like their internal person that would help them not have to use external recruiters, and like it would help them save money in the long run. And that was like, it was just a campaign that didn't work, right? For obvious reasons. It's kind of even complex saying it out loud. But what we did is we pivoted it because I was like, dude, nobody really wants to hire, but what's a pain point? Who's like someone that would actually help build out a team? Well, a great idea would be like a sales manager or SDR manager. So then it's like, hey, first name, I saw that you're building out your sales team. I could introduce you to a sales manager that would build out your entire SDR team. Would you be interested in taking a look at the resume? Like that's a banger campaign. And so sometimes whenever you're running outbound, you do need to just kind of like understand the market you're selling into and understand like what do people actually care for. And that takes iterations, and that takes, running campaigns and seeing the results and analyzing what your email or lead ratio is per campaign, per industry, per role, and making and coming to those conclusions. And yeah, that's basically it when it comes to offers. And then the last one I would say too is just like keep it specific to a role and a result. Do not do the generic. We help companies hire great people because that just does not cut through the noise, unfortunately. Other things that we've seen not work, like I mentioned, saying like we can find you the highest quality candidates, that does not work. The other thing too is like saying, hey, we have candidates that have like high culture or high urgency, things like that. Like, you got to be really specific with it. But yeah, that's basically basically that. And then, like I mentioned, competing in overcrowded niches with no differentiation, like that sucks and that does not work. So yeah, that's basically that. And then when it comes to offshore, like I mentioned, price is your weapon. Use it up front. Don't bury the hourly rate in the conversation. Put it in the first email. It's literally the number one thing that everyone's looking at. And yeah, like one of the best ETAs that we've just seen as well is just like, hey, do you want to see a few resumes or a few profiles? It's gonna have a lower appointment set rate, but it does get a lot more hand raises. And then like you can, enter them into your nurture systems to kind of just keep hitting them over and over and over again. At least you got someone that raised their hand. And so I think that's another huge thing to do. And then in terms of just like signals and targeting, like there's two types of campaigns you want to run, right? So it's like you have signal-based campaigns, but then you also have just like pure, I'm trying to cut them cold noise campaigns. These will convert less, but you can run way more volume with these at a higher pace. So I have another video that got posted today, funny enough, but I don't know when this video will come out. It's called, how to use LinkedIn jobs to, or how to scrape LinkedIn jobs to generate leads or whatever it is, right? I would recommend a lot of volume on each individual campaign, but if you have like 15 roles that you're monitoring and you're just, scraping every week and pumping them into the campaign, like you'll start to see results from that. And then you have your high volume play, which is where you're like, hey, I got SDRs with $6 per hour that are looking to call your close lost deals and generate new pipeline. Interested. Like that will actually get results. And the cold outbound one, like the best way to do it is just find the roles that people are interested in and actually are wanted. So I would say or have like an actual revenue outcome. So like SDRs, great one, right? Like book more appointments. Like everyone wants to book more appointments. So yeah, that's basically when it comes to signals and targeting. And yeah, that's basically it when it comes to everything on this. So this is like my playbook on how I would generate leads for a recruiting firm and how to really think through all of it when it comes to things. If you need help with that, feel free to book a call with us on libra.io. We've run thousands of campaigns like this, and we can help you generate some leads ASAP.